Good. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. I am going to get started, but first of all, I have switched her stories to Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. If you have one coming up and I haven't reached out to you, give me a second. I am trying to do too much with too little time. But I definitely want to do this. I want to bring awareness. This week is Black Maternal Health Week. And as you all know, I'm big on all things mothers. Like I feel like that's my calling at this point. So today we have a special guest. Her name is Courtney. Courtney and I went to high school together. We actually remained friends through college. She actually joined my rival sorority, the rival sorority of my sorority, but I still love her dearly. She's still a pretty girl. No, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. She has been she shared her story on her on her Instagram when she first had her child. And I just remember listening to the whole thing in almost utter disgust. Because unfortunately, a lot of times doctors do not listen to us. So I'm going to go ahead and join Courtney. We'll go ahead and get started. If you have any questions for me or Courtney, put it in the comment, ask the question. Don't put it in the comments. Click the question at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, and thanks y'all for joining. Special edition of Her Stories. She should be connecting now. Hey girl.
Hey girl, hey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am good. So Courtney and I when I thoughts just come through my head and I'm like, boom, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I didn't even get back to her until this morning. But I mean, we kind of had it going on. So thank you for working with my last minute choices and decisions. But just really quickly, like I said, Courtney shared her birth story. Unfortunately, her very traumatic birth story. It's a little over a year ago now, right?
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say she's almost 2, but when you shared it, she was like 6 or 7 months at that point.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is before I started this platform, but when I heard it, it upset me because a lot of times in these delivery rooms, they do not listen to us as Black women. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm the doctor, you don't know. Oh, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, no, I'm literally in pain or something's not right. Like, yes, you may have went to school for all of this time, but I've been in my body for as long as I've lived. I know when something is wrong with my body. So I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself and Donovan. He's gonna let her tell the story first. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get started. Y'all, Courtney got me together, honey. She sent over a list. She was like, "This is the topics you can pick and choose from here." I'm like, "Oops, sorry,
Look,
thanks." I was getting there.
I just always have to be prepared. Okay, so look, just blame it on me being an attorney. Like I need to be prepared.
I was just about to say that's the Esquire base, so she had to have her case notes on and ready. Like if we're going to this trial, and we're going like this. We don't need any mistakes.
Exactly. So first and foremost, thank you for sharing your platform with women like myself so that we can share our stories and raise awareness to things that go on in our community. And, I greatly appreciate you even sharing this space with me. My name is Courtney and my daughter is now almost 2. So I had her in June of 2020. With my story, I mean, I feel like my story is just a series of unfortunate events. You know what I'm saying? So the backstory of my pregnancy, I was perfectly healthy. I didn't have any high risk issues. I didn't have gestational diabetes. I didn't have preeclampsia or anything like that. My only issue was me being anemic. And my doctor knew I was anemic. You know, we took the iron pills. We did, you know, check my numbers every so often throughout the pregnancy, which I appreciated. And that's, you know, very important. So when it came time to go give birth, right? My doctor at the last appointment, she was like, go ahead and get your blood drawn so that you know what your numbers are on file right before you go. And that way they don't have to do all of this all over again and everything like that, because it's such a close window between getting your blood drawn and actually going in labor. And so I did that. And when I told my parents, you know, that I'm anemic and my doctor said you don't want to have to get a blood transfusion, everything like that. My mother was like, well, we can go up to the hospital and donate our blood, you know, if we are your blood type, so that you have a bank of blood that you know what I'm saying, who it came from and all of that stuff. So thankfully they didn't do that because I didn't end up at that hospital anyway.
The
So
blood just would have been sitting there. Hey.
I mean, it could have went to somebody else who needed it, you know what I'm saying? But it would have been on reserve, so to speak, for me. So my story began on a Wednesday. And before I get into the story, I do want to say I did cover this in, you know, a video on my page, but my video that I did was more so matter of fact. And there wasn't any emotion behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't sure how people, you know, were going to be receptive. And so I feel like this is a safe space. So if I get vulnerable, you know what I'm saying, and give the emotion behind what
Oh, most definitely.
happened,
That is welcome here. And if anybody has a problem, they will get blocked. My block finger is strong. Like, this is what this is for. This is for people to share their stories, be honest, be open, and just be transparent. So if you get a little choked up, I got some tissue right here.
I appreciate that. So my story, like I said, began on a Wednesday. And I was contracting all day Wednesday. And I called the advice line, because you know that's what they tell you to do. Called the advice line, and they told me you need to head to the hospital, but your hospital is full, so you need to go to another hospital. So I went to and if we can give like the specific details, I was registered at Holy Cross Silver Spring, and that was full. So they needed me to go to Washington Hospital Center, which was fine. And I went to Washington Hospital Center in DC. And
I just want to give like mileage for people that aren't from
go
there.
ahead.
So
Go ahead.
that hospital is probably, you said the Silver Spring location?
That was where I was
So
registered.
that hospital is probably what, 20 minutes without traffic? So
Yeah.
maybe like 30, 45 with
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah.
Washington Hospitals. Yeah, because it's on the, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So got to the hospital, Washington Hospital Center, and they checked me, and I was only a half a centimeter after, you know, laboring and contracting all day. So of course they sent me home, right? Which made perfect, like that made sense. So we went home and I labored all throughout the night. I didn't get any sleep, right? So I'm already kind of exhausted because you can't really rest through those type of contractions. So the next morning, I was just like, okay, I have a doctor's appointment. This is Thursday. I have a doctor's appointment anyway. I can just make it to my doctor's appointment, right? So once I got there, they checked me and she was like, okay, you're, you know, 1.5 centimeters. And I'm like, good grief, like that's a long time to be laboring. And this is the only bit of progress that I'm making, you know? So automatically I'm starting to think like, is something wrong? Is my body starting to fail me, so to speak? But I was like, okay, you know, it is what it is. Labor is a long process.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to go print off my paperwork. And when she came back, she like something had leaked out, and I was like, I don't know what this is. And she was like, well, let me check and see if your water broke. She checked and confirmed my water broke. So she was like, I need to go call the hospitals like right now to see where you need to go. So mind you, when she checked me, she can see it was a certain color. So she was like, your baby pooped in the womb. So, and she was like, when you get to the hospital and you actually give birth, because she pooped in the womb, your baby is going to have a team of her own doctors. You're going to have a team of, don't be, you know, to make sure she didn't eat anything and all of that. So she calls the hospitals, and she called Washington Hospital Center was full now. She called Holy Cross Silver Spring, they were full. She called Holy Cross, they were full. And so those were the only 3 hospitals affiliated with my insurance at the time. So now we have to go outside of the area. You get what I'm saying? So now we're broadening the scope of where we can go. So she said you can either go to Baltimore or you can go to Bridge. And unfortunately, it was Reston, Virginia. And you can go ahead and explain how far Reston is.
So Reston is like an hour, pretty much. It's like 60 miles from, well, from where you were at Washington Hospital Center. It may have been 40, but again, with the
But
traffic. Oh,
this
you
was
were
a
back.
different day. I went back home.
Yeah,
You know
so
what
it
I'm
was
saying?
like
So
60 miles
yeah,
before
and
traffic.
this was rush hour. So this was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So
Okay.
yeah, like an hour and a half, maybe two in labor.
It was a hike. I don't even remember how long it took, but it took us a minute to get there. So when we got there, wheeled me in, and I had to sit in the waiting room for a little while, and I'm like leaking on the couch, and I'm like, they kind of knew I was coming because the doctor called ahead to confirm that you had available space, hence why I didn't go to the other 4 hospitals, right? So I'm like, I don't know how long I'm supposed to sit here waiting. And I'm thinking, first thing I'm thinking about is I'm leaking on your couch. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we get me, somewhere? But okay, waited a little while for a bed. They got me situated in my room and everything. And when we first got there, my doctor was Black, which I greatly appreciated. But she was only there probably for like another hour or two. So that was doctor number one gone. Okay. So my second doctor, she was white, but she explained everything to me. She believed in God, and that meant something to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt connected to her just off of faith, right? So because Selah, that's my daughter, Selah pooped in the womb, I ended up getting a fever, and her pooping gave me an infection. So I had to get antibiotics for both of those, and I had to get a COVID test automatically because it was COVID. This is pre-vaccines and all of that. So I knew I was gonna get a COVID test, and this is the one where they go all the way up.
The
Okay,
first,
the first,
the mother of COVID tests, the ones that they pick your brain out. She's like,
yeah,
wait,
yes, that
can you not just swirl it around the circle?
exactly. Help me. I'm a saver. Okay. Help me right now because I don't need it. So did that the one time, the first time. And then because I had the infection and then I had the fever, they was like, we need a faster result. So we got to do it again. So they tested me a second time. Right. And I'm like, okay, this is already too much, but okay, it's fine. It is what it is. Um, Next thing you know, I'm like, I need an epidural, right? Because I'm on Pitocin. Because when I arrived to the hospital, I was only 3 centimeters dilated. So this is a long, you know what I'm saying? This is Thursday afternoon, right? And I already started laboring on Wednesday. So I'm like, okay, this is a bit much. I need an epidural if y'all gonna have me on Pitocin. And Pitocin,
Like yesterday,
yeah, Pitocin contractions are no
are crucial.
crucial, okay? And they can crank it up to a 30. They had me on a 30 when my epidural went out one time, and I was like shaking the bed, like y'all have got to help me. Like this is not even funny, right? But before we get there, with the epidural, I got the epidural or whatever, and they clean your back, they spray your back, all of that stuff, and they insert the needle, and then I think it's a catheter. I don't even know exactly how an epidural works, like officially, right? But I do remember the anesthesiologist was like, excuse me, man, I have to take this out and do it again. And I was like, mind you, I don't know if everyone else knows this, but like you have to curve your back, hunched over like this, holding on to the nurse. And the person that's with you, they don't even let them people see that
They
because,
made Donovan sit down because the
yes,
needle is so big. They were
yes,
like, a lot of people passed out.
yes, yes. And of course we don't see that, right? So I don't know what's going on back there. So the anesthesiologist was like, I have to take it out and do it again. And I was like, are you joking or are you for real? And he was
Like,
like, I'm serious. And I like literally pulled from the nurse. I was like, is he joking or is he serious? And she was like, he's serious. And I was like, what can you do in that moment? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dang, okay. So He takes everything out, renumbs my back, sprays it down, does the needle again, and then reinserts it. And the reason he had to take it out was because he said the first time it landed in a blood vessel, which is like a once in a million chance of that ever happening, right?
I'm glad you realized that, sir.
Hello,
Did
right?
you not know where it was located?
Hello. So by now, I've had 2 COVID tests and 2 epidurals, technically, right? So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And this is still Thursday afternoon. Okay. So thankfully, I got some rest with the epidural. I can relax, you know what I'm saying? I can chill, all of that stuff. And I get some sleep. My husband gets some sleep. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to wake up soon and it's going to be time. Girl, they put me in all these different positions with the peanut ball and this and that and the third because she
Girl,
was.
that'd be my first thing. I'm like, y'all get the peanut ball, turn to the left, turn to the
Yes,
right,
yes,
put it under you. It's gonna open you up.
yes. So they put me in all these positions and she was head down, but her face was facing my stomach instead of facing my back. So they had to like get me in position to like rotate her and all of that stuff. So everything works out, right? I'm dilating, dilating, dilating. As far as I could possibly go was 9.5 centimeters. So the third doctor, okay, was an Asian woman. She was like, I think you need to consider a C-section. And I was just like, I'm at 9.5. Like, I'm close. I can push. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to do a C-section. And if I'm not in distress and the baby's not distressed, why are we doing this whole C-section thing, right? And so she was like, okay, that's your call. I just want to let you know that you might want to consider. And I'm like, okay, thanks, but we gonna pray on it. We gonna figure it out. So her shift ends. Now enters doctor number 4. Mind you, these doctor shifts is not like 8-hour shifts. Okay, so we have been here for a long time for us to be having 4 different doctors, right? And the baby still ain't here. So I'm like, okay, this is exhausting. I'm tired. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? Get it over with. So the 4th doctor was Black and she was my soror. And I was just like, look, okay, this is how I'm feeling. And she was like, you might want to consider a C-section. I'm gonna give you some more time. The next time I come and check on you, if there's no progress, we're gonna have to do what we gotta do. And she was like, because we don't want this to become an emergency, right? Mind you, I don't think anybody noticed this, but my water broke on Thursday. Babies cannot be in there without no water, but for so long, right? So technically, we should have been had a C-section if that's the case. Somebody should have like made the decision sooner. You know what I'm saying? Than later, instead of
Because
because
that
you
sack is just dry at that point.
exactly, and you giving it to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared of everything, so I'm like, I'm not going willingly to go
And
get sliced up.
to even piggyback on that, you were still leaking after it broke. So it wasn't like it broke and then you
It
were
was gone.
like it was still slow leaks after that, and she pooped.
Yes, yes, which
So
makes
at
more of an emergency, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So the doctor who was my soror, she was like, I'll come back and check on you in X amount of hours, or like 2 hours or whatever. And then by then we'll have to make the decision. But we do need to discuss, your alternatives. And I was just like, okay, I called my doula. And yes, I had a doula. I mean, when I say she's amazing, she's amazing. However, at this time, this was you got one person and one person only. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was terrified of childbirth from the beginning. So I was like, as soon as they said you only got one person, I was really like, all right, I know my husband want to be there, but I need somebody that's about to be there, you know what I'm saying, that know what to look out for. But my husband did an excellent job, like amazing. Okay, so I called my doula and was like, hey, this is the situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do. And she was like, we about to pray. And she was like, if the doctor says this, these are your options and why. And I know you're going to be fine. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Right. As they are wheeling me in to the operating room, something in my spirit was like, no, like, no, I don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I did not have a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do I keep laboring and no progress is made and then it becomes an emergency? You know what I'm saying? All of that. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and do it. So, girl, I go in that operating room And when you first go in there, it's just you and them, right? Because they gotta set you up, they
Right.
gotta clean you up and do all of that stuff, right? So my husband is outside the waiting room. Outside the operating room, and he's like, "How long is it gonna take for them to let me in here?" Right? So they let him in, and when you in the operating room, like on the table, you kind of like stretched out, like your arms are out, like you want to cross. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Jesus Christ vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm stretched out or whatever. And they starting, they, ask you questions. What are you allergic to? And what are you here for? To make sure you coherent. Mind you, it's 11 o'clock. I've been on Friday night,
PM.
PM on Friday night. I literally,
Wait.
yes, literally was in labor since Wednesday, but my water broke Thursday afternoon. So now we are at Friday night.
I thought we was in Thursday night.
No, we Friday night. Because remember, I said we got the fourth doctor.
Yep, you're right.
Okay, so we down on Friday night, right? 11 o'clock. I'm exhausted. I mean, you know how you be so tired where it feel like you got beads under your eyelids? That's how tired I was. So I'm like, okay, let's just get this over with. It is what it is, right? Mind you, let me pause and say, me and B know someone who died during childbirth the July before I got pregnant. Okay. So the whole entire pregnancy, I'm like harboring
On edge.
this fear of like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? And my husband wanted 4 to 5 kids. And I'm like, look, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah, one in impossible.
Okay. And that's what it's given. So we in the operating room, and they get started. Okay, you can hear everything, you can't really see nothing. I didn't have my glasses on, so I can't see nothing. Like, I'm blind. Okay, can't see nothing. And
Courtney said it's blurry.
can't see nothing. Okay, so I'm laid on the table, you can hear everything. It's cold, it's I don't know what. And when you are getting a C-section, I don't know if it's the medicine they give you, but you are like shaking already, like you just shaking on the table, right? So they get her out, and she's perfectly healthy, 8 pounds, 6 ounces, 21 inches long. Mind you, I am all of 5'3". Okay.
Courtney,
So,
where you 5'3"?
what you think I am?
Courtney, you're like 5'1", maybe
I,
5 foot
I was
even.
trying to. The people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? We ain't have to do that. We ain't have to do that.
Hold on, because I'm taller than you, and I'm like 5'2"
We ain't have to do that.
in my head.
So,
She said it with confidence.
and did. Okay. So I'm sitting here, and I'm like, oh, this baby was big as hell. You know what I'm saying? This child is big. So they take her and they give her to my husband. He's, holding her, but like he's holding her like this. I can't see because I don't have glasses on, number one. And number two, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a bad angle. I couldn't see nothing, right? So they take her, clean her up, all of that, right? Okay. They are now trying to get my uterus to contract. It's not contracting at all. So a new anesthesiologist, he gives me a shot in my arm, and he's yelling on the other side of the little sheet, right? And he's like, "What about now?" They like, "Nope, nothing." He give me another shot. "What about now?" "Nope, nothing." And he's like, "I'm so sorry to keep having to prick you or whatever." And so he gives me another one. He's like, "What about now?" And they're like, well. And I don't know what's going on. Mind you, I am like fading, you know what I'm saying, in and out of consciousness, right? Just like, I'm talking like in and out. And my husband was like, "You're okay. You know what I'm saying? You're all right. You're fine. Stay, you know what I'm saying? Like, stay coherent, stay present with me." But number one, I was tired. And number two, I was losing a lot of blood
Blood.
really, really quickly, right? So next thing you know, they are closing me up, right? And they told my husband, they was like, "Oh, you can go with the baby to the room." And he was like, "No, I'm gonna stay with her." And I was just like, you can go ahead. Because they was like, "Oh, we're done. You know what I'm saying? We closing her up. You can go ahead." And he was like, "You want me to go? You want me to stay?" And I felt so bad looking him in his eyes and saying, "I'd rather you stay with me." You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, as a mom, you're supposed to always put your child first, right? But speaking to my therapist, she was like, if your husband would have went, He
You
was watching them do nothing. You know what I'm saying? He would have been present. He wouldn't have been doing anything with her, right? Let's also not forget this moment here while I'm laying on the table. They already taken her out. I didn't get the skin to skin. I didn't get to meet her. I didn't get like those you see on Instagram. You see videos and pictures of people smiling with their kids and all of that. I didn't get any of that because I didn't meet her until, so this was midnight. So she was born Saturday morning, okay, midnight. And I didn't meet her until 7 a.m.
Sunday
on, no, Saturday morning when she was born. So it was that whole
morning.
night.
Okay.
I didn't, so golden hour, non-existent.
None of that.
Like holding her, like I didn't see her face until 7 in the morning. So they closed me up or whatever. My husband was like, I'm staying with you. It is what it is. So they closed me up as they're wheeling me back to the labor and delivery, because you're supposed to be on labor and delivery for only a certain amount of time before they put you in the maternity ward, right? So I'm in labor and delivery, and as they're wheeling me back to my room, I hear my doctor tell my nurse, don't move her until I say so, right? So I'm not thinking nothing of that because I'm ready. I need some rest. I'm exhausted, okay? Like I am exhausted. I get back to my room. It is 10 nurses and doctors. I mean, chaos. I mean, straight chaos, right? I don't know where my baby is. I'm like, is she in here? Yeah, she's over there. She's just really quiet. She got her team of doctors. I got my nurses, blah, blah, blah. So they drew my blood. This goes back to being anemic. Okay. So I found out that you're not supposed to go into the operating room. The lowest they want you is a 12. I entered at an 11. Okay. By the time I was done and they closed me up, I had lost so much blood. I left a 3.
Did they not check this before they took you back? Like, did they not have your charts? Did they not have your records? Like,
My,
that's the stuff that pisses me off. That's negligent.
yes, mind you, every time we got a new doctor or a new nurse, they ask, oh, are you high risk? What child number is this for you? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's my first child. Not high risk. I am anemic. Please check my numbers, right? So I get back to the room and, you know, with a C-section, they are pushing on your stomach to make sure you're not bleeding and stuff, right? And I'm like thinking to myself, you just seen them cut me open. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be pushing on me that hard, right? And I'm talking pushing to the bone, right? So,
Oh, they do the same, you know, with
yeah,
all births, but you didn't just get cut open with vaginal birth. Like,
correct.
you're pushing on this. You just sewed me up less than an hour ago.
Correct. Okay. So the nurse got a phone call the from the lab because they draw your blood after they was giving me the shots. They drew my blood and everything. So the lab called my nurse and was like, she's a 3. And my nurse was like, excuse me, what? And she got up and walked away. And he was like, she's a 3. She said, I have to call her doctor right now. So she hangs up, calls the doctor, and was like, yeah, the lab just said she's a 3. And the doctor was like, what do you mean? And she was like, she's a 3. What am I supposed to do? And the doctor was like, you need to call the lab and order X amount of blood transfusions, right? Like immediately, right? Mind you, chaos, right? So you got this nurse, I'm still on the antibiotics for the infection. I'm still on the antibiotics for the fever. Now I need all this other extra stuff. I need a blood transfusion. You know what I'm saying? It's so many people. I don't know what's going on. When I tell you by now it was probably 3 in the morning, between 2 and 3 in the morning. And I remember them saying to me, they was like, we don't have a nursery, so to speak, at the hospital, but you need to get some rest. Do you mind if we take your baby with us and we will watch her until you get some rest? And I said, go ahead. Like, I don't even know if I'm living, if I'm dying. No one is explaining to me, like, what's really going on here. And so I asked my nurse, I said, am I okay to go to sleep? And she was like, yeah, you can go to sleep. You need some rest. When I tell you, I could not go to sleep because I just knew I was going to die in my sleep. I was like, I cannot go to sleep. And when I tell you I had no strength, I couldn't even pray. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I can sit here and say, all I can sit here and say is, God help You know what I'm saying? Like, God help. Because what else can you say? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to ask. Y'all ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, to have death breathing down your back, and ain't nothing you can do about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do nothing about it. And when I was in the operating room and I kept fading in and out of consciousness, I was telling my husband, I was like, you know, I appreciate you for being a great husband. I know you're gonna be an awesome dad. And he thought it was like, oh, the drugs, you know what I'm saying? It's the medication. But in reality, I felt like those were my last words. And how empowering would those last words be? You know what I'm saying? To my husband, if he has to be a single dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, the amount of strength that I had to have, knowing you ain't got no energy. Mind you, my parents don't know what's going on. None of my friends know what's going on. I don't even know what my phone is because I'm so into, I cannot die here. You know what I'm saying? I cannot die here. You know what I'm saying? And my husband was like, if you don't want to have no more kids, I get it. Like, I get it. You know, so people ask me, are you going to have more? You know what I'm saying? Like,
And that's why I think that that's such an insensitive thing. Like, oh, you need to give that baby a sibling, or oh, when you gonna have some more kids, or I almost like you almost died. Like that is very traumatic. Not only physically but mentally, like your body went through a lot.
yeah,
But then the aftermath mentally, I don't think people understand. Like, okay, people experience postpartum depression all the time, but like you said, you experience PTSD
yeah,
simply because you literally had a near death experience.
yeah.
And I just think it's so selfish and it's so invasive for people to assume, oh, you need to give this child another sibling.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything.
Correct.
I need to live my life. Like,
Correct. And you know what I'm saying? Thinking about just moving forward, like you said, I was diagnosed with PTSD. So when people ask me, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, you don't have postpartum depression, and not to, that's very serious, right? But my thing is, I was so focused after giving birth. Every single day, I would wake up and I'm like, I didn't die. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I didn't die. Oh, I didn't die. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, I didn't have the mindset of I had to put, like, I could have postpartum depression. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so focused on I have to live, that motherhood, so to speak, wasn't a thought. You know what I'm saying? Oh, your life has changed. It's like, I'm thankful to be alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thankful to be here. And my doctor, like, I had night sweats, I had flashbacks, and when I had flashbacks, my flashbacks go back to me on the operating table, not me in labor, not when I finally met Selah, not me, you know what I'm saying, exiting the hospital carrying my baby. It's always that moment on the operating table. And when it happens, when I have my flashbacks, the whole room gets cold. You know what I'm saying? The goosebumps come. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's exactly that.
I was in the
That's
room.
exactly, and that is just that one moment. I can't watch shows that have hospital scenes in in operations. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I would have another child if I can guarantee none of this is going to happen, but you can't. You say you can't guarantee that. You can't. And I always see people on Instagram and they're like, in a hospital bed holding their baby, or they're in an operating room and the baby hugging their face. And it's like, I was robbed of all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was robbed of that. But I do want to say that some women would resent their child, you know what I'm saying, with this type of situation. But I feel like I never resented her, because I know the same way I was struggling to get her here, she was struggling to get here too. You know what I'm saying? We was in this together. And that's one thing that I can say. Our bond is so close because that trauma, we went through that together. You know what I'm saying? Yes, my husband was there. He was present, but he didn't physically go through this with me. And it's just amazing how she was doing her best to get through the birth canal. She just couldn't fit. And even when she was born, they showed me her head. She had like little swollen patches here from sitting trying to get through, and she couldn't fit. She just,
Man.
you know, and it's just like it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so many stories like this, and we don't share these stories to scare moms or say, oh, don't do it. It's a risk regardless, right? We know that, but it's so much that goes into childbirth for a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot.
And that's literally why I wanted to. So, I mean, you know, some people know the backstory, some people don't. I literally was in the shower and God was like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to allow people to share their birth stories. But then I wanted to go into a more like you said, most birth stories are, oh, this happened, boom, here came the baby. But I wanted to dig deeper. I wanted people to share those real, raw, and uncut stories because, again, unfortunately, Black women die giving birth or after giving birth 3 times more than non-Black women.
Yeah.
And the majority of that is simply because they, one, don't listen.
Yeah.
Two, they feel we have a higher pain tolerance.
Yeah.
Or three, unfortunately, just don't care.
Yeah.
There is a OB that I follow on here. She had a home birth. She was very transparent. She said she had a home birth because of what? The Black maternal mortality rate.
And that's
She's
very
an OBGYN and
that's very
she had a doula and delivered at home because her as a Black woman, a Black doctor, a
yeah.
Black OB did not feel safe delivering in a hospital. And that always, like, I always mention it now because if that doesn't speak,
volumes. Volumes. Nothing does. If that
and
don't, nothing does.
And that's why, you know, like I told my husband earlier, I was like, I'm pretty sure I bit off more than I could chew this week. But I wanted to, like, with it being C-section Awareness Month, with it being Black Maternal Health Month, I wanted people to see how risky giving
Yeah.
birth is, you
Yeah.
know? And it's just like, again, people are, oh, when are you going to have another baby? That baby needs a sibling. Like, even now, people are like, oh, y'all need to try for that boy.
Yep. Yep. I can
No, we
see
need to take care of the kids that we have.
that. Correct.
And you know, and do what we can with what we have right now. But Courtney, like I said, I mean, I know we talk off
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
whatever on Friday. And I just want to thank you for being so just vulnerable,
Thank you.
open. I know you can't see the comments because they kind of were like going as you went, but everybody has been so supportive.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thank y'all for the badges. We did have some people purchase badges. I'm going back to let's see. So
What
Donovan
does
was
that mean?
in here. So they giving me money.
Oh, okay. Okay.
On my platform. Oh, I said, Lord have mercy. So let's see.
Oh, and one more thing I wanted to add.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
So
ahead.
the next day after Law was born, no, so at 7 o'clock in the morning, I met her, right? And they were like, okay, we can move you to the maternity ward if you can get up, right, and walk to the bathroom. And I was like, I promise you, I can't do that. Like, I promise you, I can't. And the lady was like, okay, if you can just stand up, right, on the edge of this bed and just hold on to me, I will take you upstairs. And I was like, I can do that. So did that. They took me upstairs. By the time I got to the maternity ward, when I tell you the whole maternity ward and labor and delivery had heard what happened, I mean, doctors was like, are you okay? What's going on? I mean, people was just in there constantly. And I'm like, I just need some rest. Okay. I need some food. I need some rest. This has
Girl,
been
as if they don't already be busting in your room every hour on the
on the
hour. Like,
hour.
I'm fine, the baby's fine. Let me go to
Let me
sleep.
go to sleep. And another doctor came in to check on me, and she was a soror, and she was like, I just want to say, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. It's it's so unfortunate and everything. And she was like, but the numbers is probably not a 3 because that means you would be dead. And I was like, so what would it have been? She was like, I mean, 3 packs of blood wouldn't bring you up to this number. And I'm like, but you can't tell me, you're telling me it may not be that, but you can't tell me what it was. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm going with it was a 3, like they said.
And regardless, right? Even if it wasn't a 3, it was worse than an 11. You know what I'm saying? So I started in the negatives, and you saying, oh, it wasn't that bad. It was bad. You know what I'm saying? It was bad. And so for her to confirm it, like, you would have been dead had it been XYZ. You can't confirm nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I had escaped death. And you know what I'm saying? Like, the nurses in the maternity ward was really nice.
But why would she even come and tell you that?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the motive was. I don't know.
Like, if you know what I just went through, like, you're coming in here to check on me and to apologize. You could have left it at that.
And
because
you weren't there. You weren't there. You know what I'm saying? You coming in here today, this is the first time I met you, for you to say, hey, it probably wasn't this. It was probably that. Where were you in the process of the whole entire childbirth?
What Cat Williams say? Where was your antennas? Like,
hello.
Okay.
Where was you at? And so they wanted to keep me until Tuesday. And I was like, no, I'm going home. Like, I'm ready to go home, because I wanted to go home. If I felt like if they would release me, that meant I was good. You know what I'm saying? If I was about to die for it, like if I was about to die, they would have been like, no, you cannot go home. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thankful to be alive. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take no day for granted. I mean, like, I don't take no day. And it's amazing that I can, breastfeed, because I didn't have the golden hour, and it took a long.
Those first hours are crucial for them. And I'm proud of you on that, because honestly, can you hear me?
Would you? Yeah, I can hear you.
Girl, it was an Amber Alert. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look at it after, and hopefully I can help them find them. But right now, I'm talking to Courtney. But but no, I'm really proud of you for that, because I know a lot of times when those first few, like that first 12 to 13 hours of skin to skin is crucial. It's imperative. It helps, with the bonding. It helps with the production and everything. So for you to even stick to it after all of that, like, I am super, super proud of you, because I can't say that feeling might not have gotten the bottom. Like,
look, and the thing was, like, me and B was like, oh, we banking, like, she gonna be breastfed and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't have no formula nowhere waiting for us when we came home. I could not, my milk didn't come in for another 2 or 3 weeks, because the lactation doctor was like, your body has to heal.
The medicine, the trauma.
Yeah, she was like, your body went through hell, and it's going to be a while for your milk come in. So you keep doing skin to skin, keep trying to latch her, keep doing all of that stuff until the milk comes in. She was like, but your body has to repair the trauma before it starts to produce milk. And then when I went to, like, I had a lactation appointment at, you know what I'm saying, the doctor's office, like, that same week. And the lactation specialist read my report or whatever, and she was like, what the hell happened? You know what I'm saying? And I explained the situation, and she was like, yeah, you're gonna have to keep coming back, and you're gonna have to keep trying to get this milk, because there's no way it's about to come. You know what I'm saying? Like, with us doing this with you right now. But I will say, when I did meet with my OBGYN, my personal OBGYN, after giving birth, she was like, what the hell happened to you? Because this is ridiculous. And I explained everything, and she was like, okay, we about to go through all of this. And she was like, first off, they shouldn't have had you on Pitocin that long. And she was like, Pitocin, it's like forcing your, it's exercising your uterus, right? She said your uterus is a muscle. And she was like, if you are constantly doing this for days, right, the moment you stop, it's going to stop. It's going to relax. You know what I'm saying? She said, so the moment your uterus was off of Pitocin, it's not about to contract back. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, you hemorrhage. She was like, they should have seen your numbers because you went and got your numbers done so close to going to the hospital.
Which is why she did it like
Which
that.
is why I said that, right? And she was like, so that's not okay. And then I said to her, I said, honestly, you know, she was like, well, the next time it won't be like this. I said, I can't even guarantee you it's the next time. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I said, this was so much. Okay. I said, I'm good off kids. I'm good off all of this. And she was just like, I hate for this to be your first experience because I promise you, she was like, literally everything that could have gone wrong, you checked every single box. She was like, this never happens. So a normal, regular pregnancy, I mean, labor and delivery would not come close to any of this stuff. And I was like, but I can't guarantee this ain't gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying? So
why didn't she go to the hospital?
So for one, you remember this is in Reston, right? So I'm assuming this is outside of network because
Okay.
it could have been at one of those 3 hospitals.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because when you said she called, like, I understand, you know, that the other ones were full, but also, although that one was out of, I don't know,
Out of network. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, like I said, the comments are very, very, very uplifting. Love it. Real queens expressing the joy of life. Love it. Donovan talking about let that lady talk. It's a conversation.
It is. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, it's a few questions. That's why I'm going through the comments. Karen, she's a therapist. She said, "Child, I'm stressed. Mamas are the real MVPs for real." When you were talking about the epidural, she said, "Not take it out and do it again." It's a lot of OMGs. It's a lot of WTFs. She said, "Jesus intervened. Goodness, Mama, I'm so sorry you had to go through this." Dad said, "Hey." Camacho said he loves us. The fly aunt's corner said you saw every doctor in the unit, and that's fast. Like, were there any doctors left? Because if there were, yep. Talking about when she pooped in the sack, like, and that's girl. But like I said, all of the comments are super, super uplifting. My friend Monique said, "Lord have mercy, you're blessed to still be here." Karen, the therapist, she said the grief and trauma that we carry is so heavy. Deborah said in the room being so cold doesn't make it any better. The shaking is horrible. So I experienced the shaking after. So it's a mixture of the epidural, and your hormones, because it's such a rapid change in hormones. So I had it both times. I had it with Dylan and I had an epidural, and I had it with Dallas and I didn't have an epidural. So it's just that rapid change of your hormones. I did a little research, did a little Google because the nurses didn't know. The shakes are crucial. Oh, and she was Crown Mother said you can't get that back like the golden hour. She's there. Everybody's like they're sorry that happened.
Oh, thank y'all.
Some more WTFs. Your cousin Nita Bree said, "Lord, cousin, I'm so glad you're still here."
Thank you.
Negligence is correct. They were very negligent in so many aspects of this. She said, "How were you even woke?" Like, I would have been felt like exhausted.
Look, when you feel like you're gonna die, I'm not gonna say.
We say I'm sleeping with one eye open. Like,
yeah. And
listen.
I told B, I said, I know you tired, but I need you to watch them. Like, because we in Reston, Virginia. This is very Trump-ish. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't gonna say nothing, but yeah.
You get the point. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, what y'all about to do to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you thought? The God I serve said I am covered.
Hello.
Okay.
Davanya said you are strong. Sending some hugs and loves. Lavender Lux said, "It's okay, Munchkin. Take your time. That's traumatic." Like I said, everything is just prayers are with you. So traumatizing. Everybody's literally just spewing out love. Everybody saying thank you for your strength. Thank you for your transparency. So glad God kept you here. That's Yogi.
Yogi.
Monique said, "To God be the glory."
Amen. Won't he do it? Okay. Won't he do it?
Amen. And then when I was talking about, how people are so nosy, grandmother said, mind your uterus. People are so sickening, not knowing the backstory.
Correct.
Damo said, I hate when people ask that. Childbirth is no joke. Karen, the therapist, again, tapping in as a therapist.
Come on, Karen.
She said postpartum PTSD and anxiety are very, very real.
They are.
Baby Jada says she's praying for you. It's a lot of praying hands. Literally anything can happen. It's a risk in itself. Birth is not for the weak, and only a woman can get the job done. Period. Imagine, never mind. Understand completely. Karen said, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing your story. These stories need to be heard. I read this one. Black maternal health stories need a platform, again, which is why
what we don't. Yeah.
You can, I don't care which, remember when you asked me, you were like, well, how much can I say? Say whatever. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. People have no idea what goes on in that delivery room. Strength is an understatement. Yes. Thank you for sharing. You are not alone. Absolutely love your story. Such a beautiful, scary, powerful thing. A mix of emotions on that day. God bless you, my friend. Giving birth is definitely traumatizing. That was styling my homes. Thank you for sharing. Delivery is not glitz and glam. It's real. Birth is risky. And they also are mistreated more than any other race, talking about Black women. Yeah. And but not my bad, not even to cut you off. Donovan always says to me, because he hates going to the doctor, he hates going to the hospital. It's not even just Black women. It's Black people. Yeah. He's like, baby, I don't want to go by myself. I think they're gonna kill me. And I'm like, why do you think like that? And he says it all the time. And it's sad. It's really, really sad.
Yeah. And I wanted to say this last thing. As far as having more children, possibly, I'm in the process right now where it's I'm kind of mourning the life that I thought I was going to have with multiple children. You know what I'm saying? Because it's I'm holding on to these moments where I'm like, oh, she's still so little, but I may not have this again with another child. You know what I'm saying? So you have to mourn that in and of itself, because this may be it for me. You know what I'm saying? Do I try and risk it again? Or because it very well can end up a flawless, easy birth, or we can be in a similar situation and it's aha, I told you so. Don't do that again. You know what I'm saying? And I'm content. I'm happy with the life I live. So if she's it for me, she's it for me. I'm okay with that. And I also want to say, I get not envious, but seeing all of these white women on Instagram with 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, 10 kids. It's good grief. You know what I'm saying? We out here damn near dying having one. How? And I just be thinking how easy it must be to just go in there without a care in the world and come out baby in hand, coming out a party of 3 or a party of 4 without even thinking about this may be it for me.
I will. I'm gonna send you some pages. It's a few pages that I follow. The Browns, they have 5, I think. The Lewis family, they have 5. I'm gonna send you some, just for encouragement. Black families, with multiple children. But no, I get it. I completely completely understand. And I mean, unfortunately, it just comes with the territory.
You're right.
Deborah made mention to when the doctor came in and was like, well, I don't think you were at a 3. Mm-hmm. She was like, not us making an excuse for the doctor. Stop it, man. Somebody else said it was low enough.
That part.
Creative Worship said trying to cover it up. Definitely trying to cover up. It seems like, girl, you trying to make me feel better, but instead you sound dumb. Trying to save the hospital and sound dumb. Listen, they are tearing them up. But and Deborah also said they sent the Black girl to the Black girl to cover up and do a check-in to see if you were talking lawsuit. Because that very much was giving medical malpractice. From the time I was in there leaking out on y'all's chair when a call was already made, hey, her water has broken. She's anemic. These are her numbers. The baby has pooped.
mind you, they had more time because we were coming from Largo. So this is a hike already. We stopped at my parents' house because I had to change. Like my shorts were completely saturated, right? So we at my parents' house. My father got the towels in the car and trash bags and gloves. I'm like, we ain't doing all that, but okay.
You're
So
not too much.
okay, and so B was like, "Well, I'm
Be
about to call."
excited.
He was. B was like, "I'm about to call other hospitals, and they gonna call me back." I said, "We don't have time for that. Like, we don't." And B was like, "All right, we can leave in a couple minutes. Give it a second. Give it a second. Blah blah blah." So we did not leave immediately from the doctor's office and go straight to the hospital, right? And even if we did, that's a grip amount of time for you to prepare to get a bed ready for me. You know what I'm saying? And yet we extended that time by stopping at my parents' house, delaying and doing all of that stuff. So now you knew you had time.
I don't know how to say it. Celestialism, possibly. He said, absolutely, brought further perspective to my sister's experience. Proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Were you on, so Crown Mother asks, were you on any medications after for any health reasons, or once you stopped the meds in the hospital outside of what, like the 800 or the Percocets, were you on anything else?
No, I was on Percocet and then had an allergic reaction to Percocet. So I was on I had hives everywhere. And I told my doctor and she was like, "Stop taking them." I said, "Girl, no, I'm in pain. Okay. What you gonna
I
do?"
was scratched.
Yep. I was like this. Okay. I'm like, "What you mean? Stop taking these. I am hurt. Like, I am hurt." Okay. No. Yeah. So she was like, "I got to give you something else. You can die, and allergic reaction is serious and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Look, okay, enough. I am tired of all of this. Okay. All of it." But after the recovery, no.
Okay. Give yourself time and grace and time anytime you may want to have more kids. Definitely give yourself time to heal and be prepared mentally.
Yeah.
Just simply Sam said, "Love you, Court. Went through a crazy C-section as well. I simply love you." If that's fine too, God's plan. I'm sure your husband is like, whatever you want. Selah is our little angel. Baby, the glamorous life. They talking about Caucasian women being able to, because they know they'll have luxurious treatment. I don't have children, but I totally get one and done after this experience. Hospitals are not for Black mothers, Black people in general. I get it. My first was via C-section, and I don't want any more. So I mean, like a lot of people definitely are able to relate.
Yeah.
And like I said,
I saw one question about breastfeeding somewhere.
how did breastfeeding go while you were on meds?
I wasn't breastfeeding while I was on meds because my milk didn't come in yet. So
And also, it's crazy, like, they don't, it's like, oh, you can't do this while breastfeeding. You can't eat this while breastfeeding. You're giving me Percocets, and I can breastfeed while on perks. Like, talk to Molly, I'm sweating, and I can breastfeed.
It's giving a whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're hot, and I'm sitting here trying to latch a baby. Like, if you can do that, I mean, what can't you do?
PB and Jelly said, I'm preparing for my 4th C-section and just had blood transfusion 2 weeks ago because I'm at a 6. They told me I would die if they had to take her right now. God bless you, because a 3, wow.
Sending you all the prayers, the blessings,
all the prayers
in the world, okay?
All the prayers. But we're not even going to put anything.
Yes. You're pray. You don't have to come forth on this platform telling a story similar to this. Nothing but good vibes. Nothing.
We want a happy 4th C-section story.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love to hear good birth stories. You know what I'm saying? It gives me hope. Like, I hate to hear stories like mine, but I also hear other people's stories and they get to complaining a little bit. And it's like, that kind of sounds ideal to me. Like, I wish, you know what I'm saying, I tore, or I wish, you know what I'm saying, that I pushed for 3 or 4 hours and was exhausted and out of breath. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's ideal based off of the story I had.
I was gonna say, your exhaustion and pushing exhaustion, like, your body literally went through trauma. Like, and I tell people all the time, it's like, oh, did you have a natural birth? Did you have a vaginal? Oh, you didn't have meds. Oh, you had meds. Girl, I ain't had meds. Oh, you had a C-section. The goal of the woman's body, or the functionality of the woman's body, is to push a baby out.
Baby.
So if you had to go any other route, C-section,
Look,
outside of pushing a baby out, you did not take the easy way out.
and
You literally sacrificed being split open, cut open, pulled a daggone metal thing, pulling this side of your stomach down, people digging in your whole stomach, moving your intestines around. You got to make sure you boo-boo half the time before you leave the hospital, to make sure they put your intestines back in the right place to bring this child into the world.
I didn't do that before I left. They was
You
like,
said, I'm going home.
It did. I was like, they was like, if you can pass gas or you can poop, we can release you. And I was like, oh, I'm about to be real gassy, because let me tell you who can't. It took me a couple days before I can actually like poop, and it was painful.
And I know a lot of people say this, say the same, but then that also goes to, okay, I've been split open. In your case, split open, almost died. I'm anemic. My levels dropped near death.
Yeah.
And then they sew me back up and send me home with this baby.
Yeah.
Same thing. Oh, God forbid if you have steps.
Oh yeah, I have steps. I have, like, literally when I made it upstairs, when I got home, that was it. I was upstairs until a doctor's appointment, and I had to use a walker to get to and from the bathroom. Like, and I would have to prepare myself. My sister, no. Okay. My sister, we would be like, all right, I'm getting up on 5. And I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I had to pep talk myself to just stand up to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? The steps was hell. Okay.
And that's what pisses me off so much, because it's like, for me, I was able to go home the next day. You know what I'm saying? Whereas your body went through so much. They didn't even want to release you when you went home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, oh, they took the easy way. How what correlates the easy way for that?
Correct. When people ask me, oh, you gonna get an epidural, you gonna do this, I don't have nothing to prove to nobody. Okay, I'm having a baby. Whether I do it with an epidural, without, with a C-section, on the road. I wanted a car baby so bad, because I knew I wasn't gonna die if I did a car baby. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, look, okay, like, this ain't easy, regardless of how you do it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care if you delivered the baby through your butthole, your
Correct.
mouth. You delivered the baby. The goal is to get the baby out. I don't care if you got cut open. I don't care if you tore from your rooter to your tutor. Yeah. You did what was needed to be done, and that was to get the baby out. Regardless if you did it on your own, like you said, in the car, on the table, like, and that's what, it's just so much division amongst mothers, and it pisses me off. C-section versus vaginal, medicine versus non-medicine, breastfeeding versus formula feeding. What difference does it make? If these babies are here and they're healthy and they're safe, that is the goal.
That's what I say. You know what I'm saying? My child she's here, she's safe, she's happy, she's healthy, and that's all that matters to me. For anybody, and people don't judge me. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't really judge my story. But I feel like even if someone tried to judge, I've heard people say, oh, C-section is the easy way out. And it's like, when you are cutting through 7 layers, that's the only major surgery you will ever have in your life where you are fully awake, number 1. And number 2, to cut through 7 layers, and they have to sew each layer back together until, like, before they're done and release you.
It's not just one big stitch through all those 7 layers. Like, no.
You could go, like, no, it's every single layer. And
people don't understand that.
They don't.
It's a major abdominal surgery at that. Do you know? And that's another thing. People do not know how much you use your stomach for. Yeah. And that's what everybody tells me. They're like, Lainey, I did not know that my stomach controlled all of this until I had a C-section. Yeah. You can't sneeze, laugh, cough, breathe.
No. Like, you can't stand up. You can't go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? And not to mention, when you have a C-section, you just had a whole baby, so your skin is stretched out. My skin would hang over my scar, and I'm like, it felt like the weight of the world was like pulling my scar down. And I'm like, I know something is ripped. I know something is open. And he was like, no, everything is fine. Everything is closed. It looks really good. And I'm like, how good can a scar look? My scar does look really good, so it ain't botched. However, I didn't want to go through all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have a box scar and be fine than have the scar I got and go through the hell that I went through. But yeah, you use your stomach for everything. I remember the day I came home, B was sitting on the walker and he was like, you know, made a joke. And it wasn't really like he wasn't trying to be funny. But I was like, what the hell was that? You know what I'm saying? And I was laughing so hard. And I'm like, please, like, stop because I am in so much pain. Like,
And you're so goofy.
I was
Like,
up.
you would laugh at anything. So I'm pretty sure, like you
Oh
said,
my,
he wasn't trying to be
he wasn't even
funny.
trying to be funny.
But
But
because
like,
you're so goofy.
when I said I had tears in my eyes and I was like, stop for real. Like, I cannot be laughing like this because it hurts that bad. But yes, you use your stomach to do everything. And you don't realize that until they cut through your stomach. And you know what I'm saying? With a C-section, when they cut through, they cutting through nerves. So pieces of your C-section can recover and you don't feel it. The nerves don't heal the same. You know what I'm saying? You may get the sensation again in your scar. You may not. You know
A
what
lot of people say they cannot feel it, or sometimes it tingles, or
I mean?
sometimes it still hurts, or
Yeah.
it itches really badly, like
Yeah.
years later. Jerry said, I had 2 C-sections, excuse me, which I didn't have issues, but after I gave birth to my daughter, I was on oxycodone and I walked in the bathroom and saw, hold on, I walked in the bathroom and saw my son literally floating on top of water. I have no issues, but after I gave birth to my daughter, I was on oxycodone. Oh, because she was so high on the oxycodone.
Oh, okay. I
Okay,
was
I'm
like,
like,
oh my God, what happened?
correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry. Um, the queen lioness said, I feel like my water birth was an easier way out, but Lord, none of this is easy. Brittany said, I had the worst upper respiratory infection and the hospital sent my post-op meds to the wrong pharmacy, which was not open on weekends.
Oh my God.
So coughing in the C-section was the absolute worst pain ever.
I,
I couldn't imagine.
I can imagine. I can absolutely 1,000% imagine that.
I could not. Okay, there we go. She said, and that was the last time I took oxycodone. I dealt with that pain, and I would do it again without the medication. Okay, so the medication had her hallucinating. Okay.
Wow.
Because I'm like, what you been doing
I'm
on the
like,
water?
wait, how he get in the toilet? What's going on? Floating on water. I'm like, hold up now. What's going on? But yeah,
Hello,
okay.
how did we
Okay.
get here?
That
All
makes
right,
sense.
no. She said part of hers is still numb, and her son will be 3 on Monday. Happy birthday, Malcolm.
Happy birthday.
Um, Damo said, how long did your C-section pain / discomfort last?
I would say months. Like I was wearing the Depends for months just to hold my stomach up. You know what I'm saying? You would leak out a little bit because you don't have the like the you know how when you like hold your pee like you don't,
Mm-hmm.
that's not that strong no more because your stomach ain't like it's been cut open. You know what I'm saying? And I
That
believe the
happened.
same thing for y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you have a vaginal birth.
And I think I messed my urethra up for a little bit. It would hurt. It was
Are you
I Girl, I literally thought I was going to like die peeing the first 2 to 3 weeks after I had dialysis. And something happened with my nerve because I would walk and the whole pain would just shoot up my like it girl, we be out here in these streets delivering these kids.
and do and do yeah, but my pain lasted for months. I and that's just like the physical pain of my scar and you know results of the C-section. But like mentally, I didn't start to feel like myself again until after like 6 months.
The Queen Lioness said the tearing for me made peeing absolutely excruciating. Yeah, I tore too, and I was scared to boo boo because all of that again, it's stuff that you don't realize is connected
Yep.
until you have kids. Like I swear, I thought it was gonna rip all open again. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's bad.
I remember I went to the bathroom one time and B used to have to change my diapers and everything. And
He's such a husband.
he is. Like, I remember he was like changing me over the toilet and like these two blood clots fell out. It felt like jellyfish. And I was like, oh my God. And he was like, hold on. Are you in pain? How do you feel? You know, all of that. Cause it's that's one of the things I really love about him. I can immediately, like, I'm thinking worst case scenario, what's going on? I got to go back to the hospital. I'm not trying to do that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, okay, let's bring it down. Let's focus on what we can control right now. He's very calming, right? And so he's like, how do you feel? Do you need to call? You think you need to call the doctor? Do you think, this is fine? Blah, blah, blah. But when they both fell out, I was like, oh my God, like, what the hell is that? And I was scared to flush the toilet because I'm like, do we need to save this? You know what I'm saying? Show the doctor. Like,
Baby, when I say I was the picture queen, I got some disturbing pictures at the birth with Dylan. I'm like, I don't know if that's supposed to be like that.
correct.
I'm like this. When my stitch came out, I took a picture and I sent it to the triage. I was like, hey, my stitch fell out. This is what it looks like. Am I going to die? Like,
let me know. Tell me now.
Naquana said, and the speed bumps driving home. Listen, if anybody would have went over any speed bumps,
let me tell you,
I can imagine after a C-section.
Yeah.
Girl. I'm sorry, my friend is here. She had a C-section too. We've been in the background. She was like,
like this is hell.
So Devon was saying that it could have been the effect of the catheter for the urethra, but I didn't have one with Dallas, so I think it was just for me pushing. But also, I have heard people say that the catheter, if they insert it wrong or if they pull it out the wrong way, girl. I
don't even remember them putting that in. I clearly had one, but I don't remember that part because I don't know if it's because it was just hell of everything else, you know what I'm saying, getting the epidural a million times, or if it was like, okay, whatever, it was just one more thing I had to do.
She said sneeze and there's pee, period.
Period. Okay. Like, go ahead and change your drawers because it's a wrap.
Let's see, sorry to jump subject, but that darn baby gave me my first experience with constipation. And my God, no one told me. Listen, y'all saw my videos, like, and that's another thing. Like, I really try to make people aware. Like, everybody's like, "Oh, you're scaring people who may want to have kids." No, I'm educating. I'm making it funny because at the end of the day, like, now I can look back and be like, "Whoo, that first constipation!" Like, I literally was home by myself when I was constipated with Dylan, and Donovan was back at work, and I had to call one of our friends, and I'm like, "Can you please buy me a suppository?" I was on the toilet nursing Dylan. On the toilet nursing her. I'm like in the most vulnerable state. Mind you, she was in the room when I had the baby, so she didn't see everything anyway. But I'm just like she came in the house. I don't even know. Like, I don't know. And it's just like that constipation.
It's no joke.
If you are listening and you plan on having kids, you're pregnant right now, or you just had a baby like today, take those stool softeners that they send you home with. Go buy more stool softeners. Get some Milk-A-Mag. Get whatever you can get to soften your poop. Because I after having Dallas, it humbled me because I was good. My first poop was good. Week later, week 3. I'm like, Donovan, I don't know. I might need some. And it's crazy because it's so much stuff that people don't tell you, about it. And again, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's pregnancy is different. Everybody's postpartum experience is different. But I can almost guarantee you there are a few main things that are 9 times out of 10 going to happen.
What is it? The after contractions?
Yes, girl.
Them, would bring me to my knees. Well, they would have if I could, but would have me curled up in the bed. Okay, like pain.
And then also, breastfeeding causes you to contract as well.
Yep.
So, but your uterus is contracting now because it's trying to go back down to normal size. And like your lactation consultant said, your body went through so much trauma. It wasn't even contracting after they pulled the baby out of you. So it's like, what's going on? So it's like your body, the chemicals are like triggering, like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. So, and then it's contracting after you done got cut open. So now not only am I hurting from the contractions, you got the C-section,
And think about how we could have jump started my uterus to contract had I been able to skin to skin and breastfeed. But that also was kind of, taken off the table for me. So, how much longer did it take for my uterus to finally start to contract?
Brittany said, Davon said the crazy part is it didn't hurt my first bowel movement, it hurt the second. That was me with Dallas. And Brittany said, baby, I was stuck on the toilet. My mom bought me coffee suppositories and all of that. I was nursing. She had a good latch, but I was more taking her off. But that bowel movement hurt coming through. Listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Iman said, yes. Weeks later, that constipation hit different. Girl, I thought I was in the clear.
And do. Okay.
Week 3 came through. I'm like, wait a minute.
What's going on? Exactly.
I thought I passed you. But no, this has been great. We've literally been on here for an hour and 15 minutes, and it hasn't even seemed like that. This probably is the highest viewer count I've had in a while. So I'm glad people have enjoyed. Like I said, thank you all. My friend just texted me. She said, well, Miss Courtney sealed the deal. I called my mom and told her I'm not having any kids.
Oh, no. Don't blame it on me. Don't blame it on me.
She just texted me. But no, Courtney, you know, I love you to death. Like I said, Courtney and I went to high school together, and we kept in contact through mutual friends through college. And I mean, we haven't kept in contact as much, but you know, when you got married, I was like, boom, congrats. You're like, girl, I'm not even on social. What's going on? Girl, you my dog. I got you. And then her husband and I went to elementary school together. So, you know, me and Brian, you know, Hollywood, what was we, the Wildcats? I don't know. But no, Courtney, for real, like, thank you so much.
Thank you. I know
you had first emailed me, you know, when I first started the platform. You've been very supportive of the platform. So I definitely appreciate that. But ultimately, I appreciate your vulnerability, your transparency, just your willingness to share your story, not only to, you know, bring awareness, but just, you know, to educate and let people know, you know, things to look out for. Listen to your body. If something doesn't seem right, advocate for yourself. Granted, unfortunately, you were in the height of COVID. So, you know, the guests and everything in the room, it was, you know, you didn't have the ability or the opportunity to have, you know, as many people as you wanted in there. But advocate for yourself. If, you know, make sure whomever is in the room with you knows your birth plan. Make sure whomever is in the room with you knows, like, okay, something's not right. You know, with Brian, he knew. Like, when he was like, you sure you want me to go with her? And he like, no. Because he probably in the back of his head was like, I don't know this baby. Like, y'all got the baby. I get to know her in a second. Let me make sure my wife is straight. And you can appreciate that, you know, with a calm husband. Because even with Donovan, when, you know, I had the crazy story with Dallas, and I'm literally hollering to the top of my lungs, and he's like, it's okay. Calm down. Yeah. And I'm like, how? This man told me, I said, Donovan, I feel like I got to push. He was like, nah, your stomach not sitting low enough. Excuse me? This baby is trying to claw out of me. I have to push. But it's definitely super, it makes the experience better. And I'm not going to say better in your situation, but it made
it was calming. You know what I'm
saying? There we go. Knowing he was there, you know, knowing, because if he was in a panic and you were in a panic, it would have been all bad. So to have him there to calm you and comfort you, I think that helped. You know, alleviate some, but.
And I had to, you know, at one point just thinking about like, oh my gosh, am I about to die? I was on the brink of like hyperventilating, right? And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm dying. You know what I'm saying? When I was in my actual room, but like, you don't even have energy to do that. You know what I'm saying? I had to really fight myself internally in my mind to say, in any energy you got, can't go to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cannot go to you hyperventilating. So literally, like you said, having somebody calm there makes a huge difference, because it makes you feel like it's okay. I can do this. I can take on the world, versus having somebody who's in a panic like you, and you panic because you going through it. You know what I'm saying? You're not seeing it. So I agree 1,000%. I really do.
Well, I'm giving you a virtual hug. Thank you so much. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Like I said, I had a pretty high tuning in ish, whatever it's called. But I know a lot of them were your followers too. But thank you for sharing. Again, thank you for being so open, because I know you said you kind of just told bits and pieces on your live when you did tell your story. But just thank you. And you know, if you ever choose to have another child, We're not putting it in the atmosphere that this will happen again. You are blessed. You are covered. He covered you, through this. But if you choose not to have another child, let me know if somebody asks so I can run up and let
Okay.
them know to mind. What they say,
We're
mind your own uterus and mind your
yeah.
own penis, because
Okay. I don't mind paying a surrogate if I want another child. So
she got lawyer money. Like, what you doing?
look, I ain't got all that now. Okay. I ain't got all
Okay.
that. Okay. Well, thank you again for having me. This was so wonderful. And
I know. I
I
had a good
me
time.
too. Me too. And thank you to all the people who joined us and listened to my story and share and, advocate for yourselves and raise awareness. I really appreciate the support.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't even see this. Foster, that's my cousin. He said, "Can we see the baby?" But she probably sleep.
Yeah, she probably is asleep. Oh,
Yeah,
I wish you would have. I wish I would
I'll, I'm a repost a picture of her in my stories.
have.
So y'all
I
check my
would say
stories after this.
my
I'm gonna
page
show little
is
Lala.
public. They can go on my page. My page is public. So
Okay.
follow me. I follow back. All of that and all of that.
Well, thank you, Courtney. Thank you all so much. This was a special edition of Her Stories, where real women and real mothers share their stories as it relates to all things motherhood. I'm your host, Mother Laney. This is our special guest, Mother Courtney. And we'll see y'all tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. We're doing a 4-day Her Story. Tomorrow is the actual Her Story episode. Naquana will be the guest. She has a wonderful story to share. And yeah, so y'all tune in same time tomorrow and be blessed.